Hey y'all. Long time no see, huh? So, I had a baby. He's the best and so cute, and I'll show you him in a minute. Sorry that I just pretty much disappeared for like a month, maybe more. I don't know. Y'all, things have been crazy, okay? Like crazy, crazy, crazy. And let's sit down and talk about it. Let's get into this. Okay. If it's crooked, I'm sorry. Y'all just gonna deal with it because I can't figure it out right now. And I don't have a whole lot of time because both boys are down for a nap right now. And I don't know how long that's gonna last because little baby is going to need to be fed at any time because breastfeeding on demand. I don't even know where to start. My last video, right where I left you, was the day of my baby shower. A couple days after that, I started having contractions. Nothing crazy, nothing super painful, but definitely not Braxton Hicks, definitely like contractions. And that went on for about 2 weeks. I actually had to get induced at 41 weeks. So baby boy was born Monday, October 3rd. But yeah, had to get an induction. So basically, long story short, is he was just too high up. He would not move down into my pelvis. It just wasn't happening. He didn't want to do it. He wanted nothing to do with moving down further. So even though I was having actual contractions, basically my body was trying to go into labor for 2 weeks, and he wouldn't get low enough, so wouldn't progress. So even though I was having contractions, I wasn't really dilating. I went to the hospital 2 times prior to my induction because I thought I was in labor, and because hi, if you're new here, I live in Florida, so we just had a huge hurricane. Thankfully I am Central Florida, so even though there was damage, we were okay. We were not in like the southern part of Florida where like devastation like happened, or like near the beaches or anything, because my thoughts and prayers go out to those people for sure. We actually do have a family friend that lives out there, and they are okay, and it looks like they're going to be okay, but they had a ton of damage, lots of flooding. Their house is like still standing, but they need like a complete renovation as far as I know. So hopefully they get all that sorted out. But it got crazy. If you don't know, if you're unaware, what Hurricane Ian did to Florida. Anyways, so but luckily, like I said, we're Central Florida, so we weren't really in a huge like flood zone or something like that. We had flooding for sure because there was so much rain, but you know what I mean. We didn't have like tidal waves or anything like that. We didn't have sharks coming up and swimming in our streets like they did down there. That was interesting. If you haven't seen those videos, you should look them up because they're interesting. Anyways. So basically, my body was trying to go into labor for 2 weeks, and my baby did not want to come. He was not interested in it at all whatsoever. So he wouldn't move down further, so my labor wouldn't progress. I went to the hospital 2 different times because I thought I was in labor, and I wasn't dilated enough to stay to try to get things going. I did go to the hurricane the day that Ian came to my area. We were so scared that I was going to go into labor at home and not be able to get to a hospital. So I was already past 40 weeks when this happened, so I was overdue. 2 centimeters dilated as far as we knew, and was having contractions. So we kind of were freaking out a little bit. So we went up to the hospital. I pretty much knew I wasn't really like in like active labor or anything like that, but we went anyways because, like I said, it was a unique circumstance. Apparently I was not the only one, because there were a couple of other women in the same situation as I am, and we did not want to get stuck not being able to get to a hospital in full-blown labor. I'm like, I am not going to give birth to my baby in my bathtub. Not happening. Not for me, at least. So went up to the hospital, stayed where we were there for probably about 5 hours. They had me walking the halls. They saw that I was having contractions. I went from a 2 to a 3 centimeters while we were there, but again, baby was not dropping. He was super high up. My cervix was still pretty thick. So they said, they're like, you're not having this baby today. Sorry, go home. So we had a very scary car ride right before, kind of like in the middle of like the hurricane like getting here. So it was very windy. Luckily, like no one else was on the road, thankfully. Well, a couple people were. A couple street lights were out already, and it was crazy. Thankfully, we're only 10 minutes away from the hospital, so it was fine. I do not recommend going out driving in any kind of weather like that, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. Just don't do it. I was a nervous wreck the whole time, but the hospital was not letting us stay. They literally were kicking us out. They did not let us stay at all. People that were also in this predicament that lived further away, they were sending to local shelters nearby. They were not letting people stay in the hospital at all. Not in the lobby, not in the waiting rooms. You were not getting a room. Like, it was crazy. So there's that. So got home, still having contractions, but they did die down, thankfully. And thankfully we never lost power. My in-laws came over because they live in a like manufactured home, and just to be safe, they came over to stay with us here, because we live in a duplex, so it's not like a multiple story or a like manufacturer slash trailer or anything like that. So they came and stayed with us. So they were here for the night, and like I said, we never lost power or anything like that. It never got super scary here where I am, like specifically. A lot of people in my area lost power for multiple days. Last I heard, there were still people not having power, like way out like in the country and stuff like that. They still haven't been gotten to, and it's been like 3 weeks. So hopefully that's not the case. That's just the last I heard, but I mean, that could have changed at any time. I don't know. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope there's no one still going without power. That'd be terrible. We definitely feel very lucky and very fortunate that we just happen to be in an area where our power lines are underground instead of on like telephone wires. It's the only reason why we did not lose power, is because our power lines are underground, thankfully. So that's a huge plus for us. Yeah, we did have some water damage, water coming in through like through the cracks of the front door, stuff like that. Tons of wind outside. We lost a few shingles, but we rent, so luckily that's not something that we directly have to like really deal with. And none of our stuff got ruined. Our cars were fine. Like everyone was fine, thankfully, and we are very thankful and very blessed for that, truly, honestly, because I've seen the devastation. Anyways, this is not a Hurricane Ian story time. Sort of is, sort of isn't. Anyways, so that was into the second week, so like a week and a half of having these contractions. They set up my induction date at my 40-week appointment, and I was being induced at 41 weeks that Monday. So went in, did that, everything went great. I am very sorry I don't have any footage of that. My hospital does not let you film. I do have some pictures, so at some point in here I'll put in pictures, whether it be right here or at the end, at the very end. I'll probably do at the very end and kind of close it out that way. I'll do like a good like little like montage of pictures and stuff of what some like really good moments that we captured, but no video, unfortunately. I'm very sorry. And things kind of went so fast, there wasn't really time to film anything, which was kind of what we expected, but at the same time, this was not at all what we expected. We expected the labor to go fast because it did with our first son, Alexander, and they say that the second comes faster. I'd say it was probably about the same, but he came out faster. We'll get there. So the induction, we kind of started I got there early in the morning, but we didn't really start doing things until like 11 or 12. And when we got there, I was at 3, and around 3:30 things kind of started picking up. They started me on Pitocin around like 11 or 12, and that's the route that they chose to take for me, because basically they were like, you have been trying to go into labor for 2 weeks now, you kind of just need like a little push, you don't need a whole lot of help. So, and that's basically what it was. So as my contractions picked up some around 3:30 or so, I was only at 3.5 centimeters, but they were wanting to break my water around 4. I wanted to get an epidural, and they said that I had to be at least 4 centimeters to get the epidural, but because my contractions were starting to get so strong so fast, they're like, we can tell that things are about to start ramping up really fast here. So they asked permission from the doctors, and the doctor said that it was okay that I go ahead and get the epidural. So by the time the guy like got into the room, it was like maybe 20 minutes, like maybe, and he was really great. It was really fast, wonderful. I had no problems, no complications. He was like 5 minutes in and out. He did great. Thank goodness, because oh boy, by that time I was struggling very much. It was intense. It was very intense, very quickly. It went from me and my husband were like hanging out watching Scrubs, and then like a minute later I was like, I can't focus on anything anymore. I am having crazy contractions, super fast, super close together, but still way better than my first labor experience. So that is great. So I got the epidural, and he was born at 6:18. So I got the epidural around 4 o'clock. He was born at 6:18. And I didn't even really started to have like really crazy intense contractions until about 3:30. So from like 3:30, epidural at 4, baby was here in my arms at 6:18. Pretty fast. And I was like 10 centimeters dilated for like at least like 20 minutes before we even like really started doing anything, because we just had to, because his heart rate was kind of not going through the contractions very well. It ended up being okay. Obviously he's fine, I'm fine. I didn't have a C-section or emergency situation or anything like that, but they were very closely monitoring his heart rate because it was dropping with some of the contractions, especially like the really intense ones. So basically I started pushing, and I kind of only pushed like 3 times. It felt a lot longer, but what my husband and doula and everyone told me is they were like, it was maybe like 15 minutes, and we like took a break for like a few minutes. We like took a break for a few minutes because they were monitoring his heart rate, and with the really strong contractions with me pushing, they didn't really, or his heart rate kept dropping. So unfortunately what happened was, well, unfortunately for me a little bit, but it's totally fine, not complaining at all, just, you know, it's fine. They did have to make an incision on me, so I don't know any of the details. I don't know exactly like where it is, how long it is, or anything like that. I just know that the doctor stopped after me pushing after one of the contractions and said, baby is getting stuck on a little flap of skin on the side, and is it okay with you if we make an incision to get him out, because we need to get him out, I didn't know the extent of what was going on at the time. I didn't know until like a couple hours later when my husband told me, and he said the doctor handled it amazingly, because I had no idea like anything was going on at all. And apparently he was like, we need to do this right now, because his heart rate was dropping. His heart rate got into like the 40s, which is really low. So he did wait till the last possible minute before making the decision that we needed to make the cut, but we absolutely did. So thankful for my doctor and the team of nurses. Were, oh my god, amazing. Night and day experience from my labor with Alexander. With Alexander, a midwife delivered me, which she did a phenomenal job. She was great. The nurses were not. I'm not a professional, so that's all I will speak about on that. is that I don't know what, sorry, my camera stopped recording. I think it stopped about me like talking about the nurses, and basically just the nurses for my first labor wasn't a great experience. Everyone for this labor was phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Everyone did an amazing job. I feel so happy. I felt so safe and taken care of, and it was just, it was lovely. Everyone was so knowledgeable and caring and nice and patient, and it was great. It was as far as labor goes, it was pretty much as good as I could have hoped for. So the doctor made a great decision, but I didn't know anything that was like going on until like after the fact. He was very calm, very collected, not panicked, not hurrying or anything like that. And I was like, do we have to? Because I really didn't want to make an incision, because I knew that like healing from that was going to be a lot tougher. But basically everyone in the room, my husband, the doctor, my doula, the nurses, everyone was like, yeah, we really need to do this, and we really need to do it now, without being urgent, without being like crazy or anything like that. And I could just tell. I was like, okay, do it, let's get him out, he needs to come out, let's go. And that's literally what happened. As soon as he made the incision, one push later, and he just came right on out. No holding back at that point. So he really was pretty stuck on just that one little piece of skin that needed to be cut. So he made the cut. Next thing I know, he was here, and that was that. It really sucked. It still kind of sucks. I'm 3 weeks postpartum now. So 3 weeks Monday, today's Friday. So 3 weeks and 4 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, 3 weeks and 4 days postpartum. So my baby is 3 weeks and 4 days old. I'm 3 weeks and 4 days postpartum. And I'm doing really well. I feel like this recovery period, other than the spot where my incision is, I feel like this my body's recovering much better this time, and I think that has more to do with me allowing myself to heal instead of trying to jump back into doing everything that I used to do. I've definitely been taking it a lot more easily this time around. It was really hard for the first 2 weeks because I couldn't drive. I couldn't pick up Alexander at all. I couldn't lift anything heavier than the baby, and it was really tough and really hard, especially when Alexander would like reach up for me to pick him up, and I just couldn't do it. So that was really tough and really hard, especially emotionally. Alexander is doing really well. At first he wanted absolutely nothing to do with the baby, which is fine. He actually pushed the baby away the first time that they met, which is pretty much what we expected. But now I think he knows that he's here to stay. He calls the baby Nini. That's how he's saying baby. That's how baby comes out for him, is Nini, and it's very cute. So he asks, where's Nini? And he'll point, and he kind of just like comes up, points to him, runs away. But he has been giving him little kisses on the head, and he always wants to say good morning and good night to him. And it's very, very, very sweet. And he's very sweet. He's a very sweet big brother. And I love my boys. I'm a boy mom. Not planning on having any other kids. We will see if God laughs at that statement and he provides one for us in one way or another. I don't ever want to be pregnant again. I don't ever want to go through labor again. If I did, I would absolutely 100% get the same doula that I used this time. She was amazing, worth every penny. I found mine. Her name is Amzie, and I found her and just fell in love. I feel like she's definitely more of a friend. We've talked since me giving birth, and you know, I really feel like I could talk to her about anything baby or birth related or not. She's just so nice and so sweet and so knowledgeable, and she does classes on postpartum, pumping, birthing classes. Like, she does it all, and she's amazing, and she has really started an amazing community here where I am with all of the doulas. She like has like all like the doulas like a community. She really has started a community here, and it's been amazing. She's amazing. She's an amazing person as well as professional. So there's that. And I think that's pretty much everything. I would really like to continue filming today and kind of vlog the rest of the day. If I do that, it'll be in a different video. I'll do like a day in the life with a newborn and toddler. Two under a year and a half technically. They are 2 days away from being exactly a year and a half apart. Alexander turned a year and a half on October 5th and Benjamin was born October 3rd. So very close from being exactly 18 months apart, but very close. And I think I hear a baby waking up now wanting to be fed. Breastfeeding's going really well. He has a really great latch. He has a very small tongue tie on the top and bottom, but they said that if it's not affecting his latch, it's not causing me any pain or discomfort, then they'll just leave it and it'll kind of like fix itself later on, which is the same thing they did with Alexander. And we haven't had any problems, no speech problems, no mouth movement problems with food or chewing or anything like that. So it's very, very mild. I don't know if you can hear him. So I gotta go. That's my cue. But hopefully I will continue to film some and I get in a different video, get back to more of a routine, more of a schedule. Baby's almost a month old, and so that's kind of when I started doing more of a very, very light routine with Alexander when he was born. So we're still kind of getting into it, trying to find our new normal. It's been very overwhelming, very stressful, very rewarding, and very loving, and I love my boys more than anything, and I am very happy to be a boy mom, and I feel like it suits me. I really do. I'm coming to terms with the fact that I might not ever have a daughter, and I think that I'm okay with that. And if I do, then I do, and that's great, and that's amazing. And if I don't, then that's great and amazing too. I love my boys more than I could ever imagine, and I hope and pray that they just become the best of friends and not worst of enemies. I think they're gonna do great though. I think they're gonna do great together, and we just have to adjust to a family of 4, which is insane to say. Okay, I'm gonna go for real this time. My baby is fully awake and wanting to eat, so I gotta go feed him. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Let's go see the baby. Hi, baby. Benjamin. Benjamin. Hi, sweetie. Do you want to get up and have some milkies? Okay, let's do that.